Hello there. In this video, you'll learn a simple and critical personal leadership skill. It's a skill that when you start applying it in your life, you'll see immediate benefits. You'll stop yourself from overreacting in situations and causing problems with other people. Your thinking will be of a higher, more useful quality. You'll be better able to say what you're thinking and how you're feeling. You'll make better choices and decisions. You'll feel less stressed and more in control. And because of all this, other people will respect you more. And you'll have higher quality team discussions. So let's get our learning started with a simple question. What do you do when someone pushes your buttons in some way? Someone says something or does something that really winds you up. You may feel angry, hurt, fearful, frustrated, jealous, or any combination of those emotions. I know what I do. I usually don't say anything, and then I try to avoid the other person. If I'm really angry about them or the situation, I may even give them that passive-aggressive approach and pretend to be okay, but actually resist them or the situation in some way. Now, we could call that reaction the flight reaction. Other people I know go the other way. When their buttons get pushed, they get aggressive. They sometimes shout. They sometimes even get threatening. And we could call that the fight type reaction. What do you do when someone or something pushes your buttons? You might find it interesting and valuable to notice what you usually do. So why would we be looking at our reactions in this way? Well, let me explain. Think about your business or your organization, and now imagine all the fight and flight type behaviors that are taking place every single day in all those meetings and interactions between colleagues, other teams, or other business units, even with your clients and customers. What do you think is the impact and cost of all that dysfunctional fight or flight type behavior? People not talking to each other unless they really have to. People saying yes when really they mean no. People feeling stressed, unhappy, and unsupported. People not sharing information and good ideas with each other. People not knowing what's the most important thing they need to focus on. People not collectively working together to solve the most important issues and problems. Good people leaving. Time and energy wasted on things that are not adding value for customers. I could go on, but I'm sure you get the point. The cost is huge. Now, please understand, these fight and flight type reactions are perfectly normal. Over hundreds of thousands of years, we've actually perfected these behaviors in order to protect ourselves from physical threats. The problem is that these behaviors are not protecting us from physical threats anymore. They're just getting in the way. So let's look a bit closer at each of these two types of reactions and see if you can identify with one of them. Let's start with the fight type reaction. If you react in a fight type way, when someone or something pushes your buttons, you may feel a combination of anger, fear, and perhaps even a little excitement, even though it sounds strange. You may raise your voice and sometimes even shout at other people. You cannot seem to stop yourself from saying something to force your point of view or even making the other person feel bad. You may feel very strongly that you're right about something. You may seem to get away with this aggressive type of behavior towards others. And even when your buttons are not being pushed, you may tend to speak a lot to try and dominate a conversation. Usually, you don't even notice that you're doing this. And you may not have even considered the impact that this behavior has on other people. Whereas if you react in a flight type way, like I tend to do, when someone or something pushes your buttons, at that moment you'll feel intensely uncomfortable. It's a combination of at least fear and anger. And you may find it very difficult to even think straight. You'll try to avoid the confrontation or the challenge, and you may feel worried about the consequences of this emotionally charged situation. You might even worry that you won't be able to control your own emotions in that situation. You may remove yourself from the situation, either by going into your thoughts or actually physically walking away. And you may find yourself saying yes to requests of you when really you mean no. And you might even find yourself trying a variety of tactics to avoid confronting the other person. So if we know that we sometimes react in either a fight or flight type way when our buttons get pushed, the obvious question now is, what can you or I do about it? How can we improve the way we respond in these situations? Well, there's a very simple technique that you can use for yourself and with your colleagues when buttons are getting pushed, emotions are running high, reactive behaviour is either happening or it's about to happen, clear thinking is absent, and bad results are very likely. Here's a breakdown of how this technique works. There are 7 steps. The first step, step 1, notice your own emotions and physical reactions in your body in the moment when you're triggered and your buttons are getting pushed. These could be any combination of anger, fear, frustration, hurt, guilt, jealousy, sadness, regret, or even resentment. Notice how they feel in your body. Notice your increased heart rate and breathing rate. These physical reactions are telling you to take the next step. Step 2, press pause. Just say the word pause in your own mind. Or if you're in a meeting situation that's getting destructive, you could say out loud, why don't we just press pause here for a moment? Step 3, breathe. Take at least 3 slow, deep breaths. This starts to reduce the adrenaline and cortisol that's rushing around your body at that point. And then take step 4. Ask yourself a question in your own mind, or you could even say it out loud during the meeting. Good questions that you can ask are, what is my part in this? What can I learn here? Why have I created this? Or what's the real problem here? Or you could ask, what's the most important thing that we want to achieve here? And then take step 5. Think about your answers to that question or questions, and only then choose what you'll say or what you'll do. And then step 6, to respond, to say what you want to say or take the action that you choose, with a positive intention, of course. This will always lead to a better outcome than if you just reacted without thinking. And then sometime later, take step 7, to notice the bigger patterns for yourself or for your team in similar situations. The patterns and common triggers that seem to press your buttons and cause an emotional reaction. You'll then notice those patterns of situations and triggers as they start to happen again, and you can choose your behaviour before you start to overreact. So those 7 steps again. Notice your emotional and physical reactions in the moment. Press pause. Breathe. Ask a question or a series of questions. Think about your answers to the questions and choose your response. Then respond by saying what you need to say or doing what you want to do. And then afterwards, the last step, to notice any patterns in your own reactivity and learn from them. To summarize then, all of us tend to react in either a fight or flight type way when our buttons get pushed, even if we'd rather not accept that this be the case. The cost of all that fight or flight type behaviour in our relationships and as a whole for our businesses and organisations is huge. And there's a very simple 7-step technique that we can use to reduce these behaviours and improve the results that we get. Just imagine how much more productive and effective you could be at work if you took control of your reactive behaviours, the results that you could achieve and the influence that you could have. I strongly encourage you to remember to pause when you notice your buttons are getting pushed. Breathe, ask a question, and choose a better response than your normal reaction. Thank you.